from our very expensive studio. Time to dive into the podcast. Hello and welcome to Paradise. You are listening to Green Dudes, the only Green Day podcast that matters. I am your host, Connor Mack, here with my best buddy in the Green Day verse, Green Day comrade in arms, my BFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffff cover not just in love, crime, but also business and a little sleepy guy today, Mr. Connor Kelly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
saw that
man.
little yawn. I saw the
I'm
little yawn.
I am tired. I am tired. I am sleepy. I took a nap when I came home today from work.
Nice.
Um Passed out on the couch for a bit, which was nice. There's something about like falling asleep on a couch that's that is it's not that it's better than sleeping on a bed, but I feel like I am like never more tired than when I fall asleep on the couch, and like it's
Yeah.
like instant. It's almost like the fast food of sleeping. I feel like it's like
Yeah.
instant satisfaction of just like, well, I'm gonna sleep exactly where I am. I'm not gonna move or do anything.
I know. Well, because for me, a big issue is if I get tired, any movement at all, it could snap me right out of it. And then
Yeah.
I lose it, and then I have trouble falling back to sleep or falling to sleep.
Right.
So, what happens to me, especially because I work overnight now, and on my days off, really they're nights off, so I'm up all night anyways, just a lot of the time hanging out on my couch, just doing whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and pretty much every night I have off, I take a great nap at like between 1 and 3 in the morning or something. And it's very nice, and I fall asleep so fast. And
Yeah.
it's yeah. So I that's been a great joy of being nocturnal.
Yeah. Yeah. Still kind of crazy that you're on that schedule because every now and then I'll try to text you or whatever, and
Yeah.
not even about the podcast, just in general, and it's like he's living a completely like in a parallel universe in some ways.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Yeah, today, you gave me a couple of phone calls at what was it, 3
Yeah,
in the afternoon.
yeah,
And because you're like, yeah, you want a podcast at 4 today?
right.
And then you're like, nah, you're probably sleeping.
I
And
was like, there's no way that's gonna happen.
yeah, and you were right. I was sleeping. I keep my phone on do not disturb while I sleep. So
The funny thing is I tried to disturb you. I don't know if you know that. But you get the option to like it says notify anyway, and I'm like, yeah, look, yeah, notify this guy for sure.
you pressed that option, really?
Yeah, no, I really did.
Wow, it didn't. I don't know. It didn't. It didn't work.
You were like, dead to the world. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it did not work. Um, yeah. So sometimes it will. Sometimes I'll come out. I don't know. Once I'm asleep, I sleep pretty deeply.
you do, yeah,
And then waking up is a challenge. So
right.
I woke up today at like 5.
Hmm.
I think. Well, no, I woke up at 4. And then I saw your text messages, and I saw that you already said like never mind. So I was like,
Right.
I'll just go back
Let's
to
let's
sleep.
do it later. Yeah,
Go
right
back to
now.
sleep for a little bit.
And now here we are. It
Yeah,
all worked out.
yeah.
It
Here we
all worked
are.
out.
We're a little bit of a nighttime episode. It's pretty cool. Different vibes. I think when we
Oh,
record in the evening
for
than the
sure,
late afternoon. A
for
little bit
sure.
looser.
This is like Green Dudes after dark.
Green dudes after dark. Yeah,
Yeah,
green dudes. Triple X after dark.
yeah,
Not safe for work version of the show.
yeah. I wouldn't play this at work, regardless. Any episode,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I know. I mean, they're all things you could get in trouble.
It's not even the content, you know. Most jobs don't want you listening to a podcast while you're on the clock, you know.
And that's another big reason why I work overnight.
Yes, yeah,
So I
because
can't listen to podcasts literally all
right,
night long.
right. I'm sure your job still doesn't want you to do that, but it's like they don't really have the authority or the, you know, it's like you're a free agent at that point.
I
It's like
am a free agent,
what
yeah.
are
So
they
I
gonna
mean,
do, you know?
well, this hotel that is flexible, like, honestly, I think every front desk agent here at the hotel they have a headphone. They have an earbud in the
Mm,
entire shift. It's just like accepted,
that's just the way it is, yeah.
which is cool to me. But even if it wasn't, yeah, overnight I could get away with it. So, um, yeah. Anyways, Connor, how are things going? You doing okay? Hanging in there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing good, man. Oh, get this. So I was just in the Finger Lakes, celebrating my
Is
wife's
that
birthday.
okay?
Is
I
that
was
is
just
that
gonna I was gonna ask if that was a euphemism for something or
yeah, right, you know. I I barely even know Lake, you know. You want me to yeah, it's like okay.
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't have been too presumptive.
Yeah, but
That's a
but no, but get this. So
yeah,
we went to this vegan bed and breakfast in the Finger Lakes.
nice.
Shout out to the Black Sheep Inn in the Finger
Who?
Lakes, Hammondsport, New York. They're a vegan bed and breakfast. They're awesome. They're awesome. It was our
Hell yeah.
second time there. We last time we went there was like 3 years ago. Anyways, here's the Green Day related thing. Believe it or not, there's a Green
Yeah.
Day related thing that's funny. Right next to this bed and breakfast, there's a little bar. There's like a pub, right? And it's called the Brewery of Broken Dreams.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
That's so cool.
And so I kind of I felt like I was all like, oh, nice. It's gonna be like I don't know, Green Day related, right? With a name
Yeah.
like that,
Punk
Connor.
rock brewery.
It has nothing. It's just me and my stupid brain. It was like, this has to be Green Day. What else could this be except the Boulevard of Broken Dreams
Yeah, of
reference? But
course.
it's nothing. Nothing in any of their. They have like little about us. Nothing on their website. Nothing on their flyers. Nothing anywhere. Uh, I got no fucking idea why they named their bar that. Because it doesn't seem like it's related to Green Day. But
Yeah.
but it's funny. It's funny that it exists, and I did go there and have a drink, so it was cool.
That is funny. Yeah, I mean, is it like based off of that famous painting Boulevard of Broken Dreams? Like where they're all
No,
sitting in
no,
that little diner? No.
no, it's not that either. No, no,
Huh.
their logo is like a crying duck. Like, oh no,
Crying
their
duck.
dreams are broken. They're sad. Like, I don't. If you ask me, it seems like a missed opportunity. There's a whole untapped market, I think, of confused patrons to this bar who go in expecting
Yeah.
Green Day related, like off-brand paraphernalia.
Yeah.
Show me like an American Idiot parody T-shirt where the hand is holding a beer bottle and it says Brewery of Broken Dreams.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would have fucking bought that for $30 or less in a heartbeat.
That sounds rad as hell. Yeah. Yeah. They really
it
could
just
have.
feels like I think that they're not capitalizing on what they have. I'm trying to help them. I'm kind of like that guy who helps people with their bars. He just yells at them.
Yeah.
Bar Rescue, the guy from
Bar
Bar
Rescue.
Rescue.
Yeah, I was thinking of Gordon Ramsay, but that's restaurants.
No, he kind of is like, but that's his shtick. He's sort of
Yeah.
like if the Penguin, like was Gordon Ramsay and helped people renovate their bars. Like that's kind of what he has going for him.
The Penguin of
a little bit, yeah.
Angry hospitality food service workers. Interesting.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, so that's what I had going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, I'm glad you had a good time. I think, obviously I'm sure you went up and you told them about the podcast and you're like, I know we have this connection here. If you were ever interested and you wanted to book us for like a live Green Dude show at the pub,
Right,
that would
right.
be. I'm sure you mentioned that to the
Yeah,
manager.
yeah. No, I think the gears are turning. We might have a
Yeah,
partnership in the works. We might have an ad read coming up soon. So
very
we'll
cool.
see how that goes.
Yeah, well, I eagerly look forward to that. Yeah, and I mean, also Green Day too. They've been known to they'll stop by a pub every now and then and do a little surprise show, or if there's a band playing at the pub, like they might jump on stage and sing with them or something. They've been known to do that, so it could be there's fertile ground there for rock and roll magics for some
Yes.
Green Day magic. So I don't
Yeah.
know, just brewery of Broken Dreams. If you're listening, I'm sure you are. Keep that in mind. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm fucking saying. Uh,
Okay. All right. I think
Connor,
we got it.
Connor,
Yeah. What's up?
Connor.
What's up? What's up?
Um, so before we started recording here, we did listen to a new version of a new song
Yeah.
by Green Day.
Yeah.
The song originally called "Fuck Off," off of Savior's Edition Deluxe. Just a week after the deluxe edition was released, they decided to, hey, we'll add one more track, and it's going to be an alternate mix of "Fuck Off," but this one's titled "F Off," I guess. It's called "F Off," Fiddler Alt Mix. Were you aware of this at all before I played it for you?
Yes, because I saw them promoting it on the Green Day Instagram accounts. I thought it was funny. I
Yeah.
like I listened to it for 5 seconds. I was like, this sounds exactly the fucking same. Laughed and then just like stopped. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, sure.
And then when you listen to it in its entirety, you were like, "Wow, it's actually way different." And I'm so happy that this exists.
Uh, I mean, there's more like feedback. There's more like whining sort of feedback. I think. I don't know, man. Maybe if because I haven't listened to the original version, parentheses Billy's version. I haven't
Yeah,
listened to
Billy's
that
version.
since we had our talk. I haven't really gone back to the bonus tracks. So um I don't know. I'm going off my memory. We know my memory's not great, but Connor, to my ears, it's not. It just does not sound very different. So I'm like kind of confused as to like what I might be totally wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I'd love to hear, but like I'm listening to it. I'm like, this pretty much sounds like the same fucking song, if you ask me. And I think there's just like more. I literally think there's just more feedback, and that's it. And I was like, okay, so like
Yeah,
what is the deal?
I mean the big thing is that there's a lot more feedback. Well, so there's feedback in the original version that's actually kind of prominent. So this is like a different feedback. It's like a different sampling of feedback. Also, it's louder in the mix. There's more of it. Um, but I will point to there's other subtle differences here too. The everything just feels like it's produced. It's like a bit crispier. The mix is a bit crispier. It's a bit more distorted. The vocals are more distorted. I would say the bass is more prominent. There's a whole section of like the second verse is just bass and drums and vocals. I think that's different to the original. I could be wrong, but um, and most notably in my eyes, during like the instrumental section, there's a little like melodic guitar part that's added back in there. That's not on
Mm.
the uh, Billy's version. And it is kind of it kind of in the background, but it is there. And then like with the final, but like before the chorus where the band kicks back in, it is just Billy singing in the feedback for
Yes.
good section. That's different as well.
Right. Yeah, that was like the biggest, clearest difference to me, which is where I kept going with like, man, the feedback. Like, okay,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
um yeah, I think it's kind of cool. Like, I like Fiddler, and I was really into The Dream Is Over, and then
That's Pup.
oh, I'm literally thinking of Pup right now.
You're
Wow, fuck
thinking of
me.
Pup, yeah.
Oh wait. Oh, dude. I fucking think Fiddler sucks.
No, you don't.
Yeah, no, I think that they're
You
like a
don't though.
really no, they're a really cringy band. They're that band that did I don't know, like just about like getting drunk or whatever. Like
Yeah.
what's that fucking song that fucking sucks?
They've got a few that are like that.
You know what right, that's what I'm saying. Connor, they're not good.
Well, no, Connor,
Um
well,
oh
are
shit,
you
and you're
thinking of
right.
the original their first album with the cheap beer song?
Yes, yeah, that is what I'm thinking
Yeah,
of.
that album. Okay, people love that album. I don't like
No,
that.
it
I don't like
blows.
it at all.
Yeah, it
I
blows.
don't.
It's a
It's
really
bad.
fucking
It's very
boring
bad.
record. Yeah.
But that second record, Connor, I think I listened to it a lot with you actually. What it came out while we were living together in
What was that album called? Do you remember?
uh
I don't know, man.
uh
Yeah.
uh,
Okay. Yeah. See. Yeah.
uh
We're both a little bit caught unawares with this whole fiddler thing, huh?
well, no, I'm just having
Although
a
I
moment.
I, I do feel bad for confusing them with Pup, because Pup's
Oh,
pretty good.
the second one's called Two,
Okay.
TOO. It's a really great record. It's got that's a
I
really fun
It's
record.
fine, Connor. I'm glad that you think that. I'm telling you that I think Fiddler blows. I think they
But hey,
suck.
I was there with you. You enjoyed this record with me at different
Okay.
points.
All right.
I
Maybe, but
swear to
but
you.
I did not like personally listen to it independently. Like
I
whatever
guess not.
listening I did was because you were listening to it, and I probably
Yeah,
was like,
maybe.
it's all right. I
Well,
never listened to it,
anyways,
So
the two records they put out after that were also very good. So their first record sucks, and I actually like very much I like really viciously disliked it when it came out. And so I was like super surprised that I liked their second record at all. Um, but the big Green Day connection here is well, first off, Billy Joe apparently like he helped this Zach, the singer from this band, get sober. That's a big connection they have. Um, Also, he produced this guy Zach Carper from Fiddler, who did this mix. He produced the Swimmers album, Drive North, and Berkeley's on Fire. He produced both those records, and the production on those records is awesome. Like those are really great, fun, like really great studio records. Our feelings about the band, in general, aside, we won't talk about any of the misdeeds of
oh, you don't want to talk about your feelings on
of
Swimmers
the
right now? You
boys.
sure?
Uh,
Okay.
but uh, so I mean, I don't know. I
That's
think
fine. I'm not saying the guy's not talented. I'm saying that what I've listened to them and my enduring memory of them is that they're not good. Um, and that's just how it is. That's fine.
yeah. Yeah, I would say I think it would be cool if this guy he produced like a full Green Day EP or something. That would be kind of fun. Maybe it's like songs more serious than F off. It would be kind of a fun thing.
Maybe. I don't know if this was like the same visualizer or whatever as before, but when we were watching
No,
and
this is a
listening
brand
to this,
new one.
it is. Yeah, it's like have you seen? I don't know. There's like these like really stupid memes that now ever since we've been like sending each other like the dumbest Sonic memes we could find on Instagram,
Yeah.
Connor. I've been getting these ones where it'll be like Knuckles or Shadow or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, I hate misogyny. I hate sexism. And then they're like, oh, I'm sorry you had to see that. I just get so
Yeah,
passionate. That's
about
that
feminism.
that's what this that's what this made me think of as I'm watching it. Because it's just
Yeah,
like the
well,
middle, and it'll be like, fuck you, racism.
exactly. I know. Yeah, it's
And here, listen, I'm on a Green Day podcast, man. We all know
well
my
because
feelings on, but
yeah,
it's
we won't get
pretty fucking lame, you know.
we won't get political here, but pretty much like it's all like you're like for all of those things. So giving a middle finger to all these things, it's like you're like, come on, guys.
Yeah, right. Can we please point the middle finger somewhere else that I agree with? I'm uncomfortable by where you're pointing the finger.
Yeah, fuck you, taxes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, just joking, of course. Yeah, no, it's cringy. And the thing about Fiddler is like they are a cringy band. I do like I like their most recent their past few albums. Um but the cringe factor has never left. And
Yeah.
with when you combine Green Day and Fiddler, they both have like separately they both have cringe factors.
Right, of course. And
And
now
so
it's like mixing together here,
when
right?
they're combined, the cringe level
Yeah.
does increase.
Yeah. It's okay. You know, it's
Yeah.
just the way it is. I'd like to formally apologize to Pup for confusing them with Fiddler. I feel bad about that because they're a lot better than Fiddler.
As much as I have defended Fiddler here, I will just say Pup is truly a much better band than Fiddler. And you know, I know Connor, you've been kind of lukewarm on Pup for a little while.
I have been, yeah, because that. So what? Then they came out with I can't think of that album. It has the pink album cover, and they're all in like party hats,
Yeah,
and they're
morbid stuff.
morbid stuff. That was the last Pup album that I listened to, and I was like, okay, I don't think I was into that as much as like actual real Pup fans, and I was like, so I thought it was pretty good. But it was
Yeah.
like I did not go back to Pup after that because I thought it was just like 7.5 out of 10. I was like, it's
Yeah,
pretty
sure.
good, but
Sure.
and so I don't know what they're up to these days.
Yeah,
But what I did listen to before, like I said, like The Dream Is Over and all that, fantastic record. So I don't know.
I agree. Yeah. So here's my take, and I actually have been meaning to talk to you about this for a little bit.
Yeah, no, let's hear it.
So yeah, The Dream Is Over, Connor. I adored that record. I really loved it. I think that's their best record still. But actually, I mean, kind of funnily enough, like I don't think I initially really liked their debut, and then The Dream Is Over came out, and I think I reappraised their debut after that, but still, like I wasn't super into it. Morbid Stuff is fucking awesome. I think it's a really good record. I mean, I'd probably give it like an 8 or something. I don't know. Then the one that came out after that, it was like Pup is something. I forget the fucking name of that album.
Yeah,
That's just okay. There's like I don't know. They kind of like we're trying. I don't. It's kind of too silly for me. I think.
Yeah.
But they put out an album just this year that is called. I got the name, Connor. I actually got the name right here.
Wow,
So
there's been a lot of
I
album
actually,
forgetting names.
Connor, I actually got the name of the album right here.
Sure.
Who Will Look After the Dogs is the new Pup record.
Okay, cool.
Connor, very good record. You would like this one a lot. It's very good.
Yeah, I'll check it out. You know, just since we're talking about, it's funny because we never talk about like other, we hardly ever talk about other music on the podcast. But I did want to let you know because I was saying, hey, I went to the Finger Lakes. It's like a 5.5 hour drive, man. So you best believe I listened to some new music.
Nice.
I listened to the new Turnstile album, which I know that you must have listened to a bunch by now.
I have been listening to it a good bit. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, very good. Turnstile has not missed for like the last 3 albums I've listened to of theirs now. I'm just like, dude, yes. So they're kind, and they're, I don't think they're quite like on top of the world, but they're like a darling. People fucking love Turnstile. They're really they're in a really good like sweet spot of just coming out with some really killer music, and people are like listening to it, and they're like, I know this is really fucking good. Like everyone really digs it.
Yeah, that's a true rarity for like a guitar band these days. Yeah. Like that's and they just announced a tour, and like the venues are like they're decently sized like they're pretty big venues. Like they're
I believe it
getting bigger.
when I saw Vampire Weekend, I think it was just last year now. Turnstile opened for them, and it fucking sucked because I didn't see them. I wanted to see Turnstile, and I thought I got there early enough, and instead there's like a DJ playing. I'm like, what the fuck is? I don't know. Vampire Weekend is weird in their own way. But
Yeah.
anyways, I missed Turnstile. I was kicking myself.
Well, they were probably like, we can't go on after turnstiles. We have to at least have some buffer act in between.
Dude, yeah, right. It's like, because the
You
thing
know,
is like, okay, so if Turnstile's opening for you, how do you have Turnstile play before like these? And it's not like they were well known. It's not like it's like, oh yeah, I don't fucking know. Oh, we got like Pitbull or
it's
whatever, who is not a
Avicii.
DJ. I'm
Yeah.
aware. Um, but like they're, I mean, like, I'm sorry, they're effectively like nobodies. They were like these two brothers who are just like shooting the shit the whole time. I'm like, and their music was not good either. So I'm
Yeah.
like, what the how the fuck do you have Pup play? And by the way, this was like a day show. That means Turnstile must have played at like 11 a.m. in the
Oh my
morning.
God.
Like, what the like what
Yeah,
is the
it's
structure of this setup
bizarre.
here? Anyways, I think that's enough, rambling on about different shit. Apologies to Pup. I guess I don't want to be too hard on Fiddler. It sounds like it's cool that they have a good relationship with Green Day. And I'm like, personally, I'm happy for them. I just don't really care about them, and
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't think that like the mix on this whole "fuck off" song
It's
is
called F
like,
op now.
okay, whatever. I don't think it's like, okay, again, I've listened to Fuck Off, the actual song, like maybe twice. Definitely not more than 3 times. So I'm not like really coming at this from a place of, extreme familiarity, but listening to the Fiddler mix here, okay, maybe obviously there's differences, but to my mind, it feels like it should be even more like unique than what, like, something about it I feel like needs to seem more different than just like, oh, we turned a few knobs here and there, or it's like, I don't think that this opportunity was capitalized on, because it feels like they kind of just re-released effectively the same song, just slapped the Fiddler name on it so they could have some good cross promotion, put on a cringy fucking visualizer where they say, fuck off to Hitler.
Yeah,
And,
that's so
and,
fucking
yeah,
funny.
I'm like, how is it? And I'm like, sure. Like, sure. Okay.
I mean, to be fair, like he has kind of been rehabilitated a little bit recently by like Twitter users. So I don't mean it's like
Yeah.
not quite as cringy as if it was 2015 or something.
Right. Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right. And I think the big thing that was missing for me was because the production on those two Swimmers records, the big success for me on those records is the drums, the production of the drums. I think he could have done something really cool with Trey's drumming here that just isn't. And I mean, I think if you're working with the band, producing it while they are recording, it's different than just doing a remix. So I'm not sure how much room he had to adjust those, but that was the thing that I was really missing in this mix.
Yeah.
Before we move on, back to Turnstile just briefly.
Sure.
Um, every fans of rock and roll of Green Day, listen to this record, listen to Turnstile. They fucking rock. It's just it's a fun fucking summer record. It's gonna be awesome, just blasting this shit. Just to give some of our cred, Connor, our punk street cred here, we've been listening to Turnstile since like 2015, 2014. Like, remember listening to Turnstile on our road trip and
that's exactly, yeah.
yeah, and seeing them open up for what was it, Basement or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they and just fucking everyone
They
going crazy. Like that
Yeah,
was
no,
insane.
they
That was insane.
tore the house down. Like, and
Yeah,
it was nuts because they're
yeah.
the opener and people are like, I'm telling you, the crowd reaction and response to Turnstile during the show that Basement was headlining was like double than anything Basement got all
Yes.
night.
Easily. Yeah.
So
So,
yeah, I do remember all that.
yeah, we're not just bandwagoners.
Yep.
Um, Anyways, today on the show, we're almost 30 minutes in. We'll be talking about the second song off of Insomniac. Uh, Not to be confused with the hype award-winning best-selling record by Charlie XCX, Brat. It shares the name. The song is called Brat. Um, Connor, I think this is this is the start of our Brat summer here.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm happy to make the same joke over again. Yeah.
I couldn't fucking
The start
resist.
of, no, and why would you? You know, why would you? I know. Yeah. We truly are starting our Brat summer. I wouldn't have it any other way than having it be a Green Day Brat summer.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So rewinding a bit, going back to the days of our youth, Connor, discovering this band, discovering Insomniac. This song Brat. Um, do you have any memories or any you want to share your any of your history with this song? I just before you go on, I remember you really being into this song, I think. So I'd be happy to hear what little Connor thought.
That's funny because I don't know if you have like any more specifics, or is this just like your, I don't know, like your feeling or your vague memory? Uh, because I don't know. My perception on it is that I don't feel that way, and
Really?
that I didn't. Only because like I don't know. I have some mixed feelings on like the momentum of this record because I think Armitage Shanks is such a cool way to start. And then, after Brat, you get Stuck With Me, which is such a great, um, I don't know, just a really good, like fast moving, energetic kind of song. And like, Brat, uh, I don't know. It's just, it's in between there. And the thing that I feel like I struggled with a bit more when I was younger, not to say I didn't like this song, I guess, but um I don't know. Like just like what the song's about, not that it offended my sensibilities or whatever. Like it was always pretty clear what the song is about. Um but I just like I don't know, I like didn't get it. This is like one of those songs where like Billy's singing about a character. But I don't know, but like this did not like totally click with me. So like when I think back to how I feel about this song, yeah, I think this is actually one of the Green Day songs I have a bit more like mixed feelings on. Um, so I don't know. It's interesting to hear that your thought was like maybe I was more into this one. Do you have any more insight, or is that just like your recollection?
It is no, it is a vague recollection. So I could be totally mistaken here. But I like remember. I just feel like I feel like you were into the story, or that you thought like
Yeah.
maybe we had a conversation about it or something. Because and I felt. I mean, back in those days, Connor, like I don't know, you were kind of like a little bit of like an edgier kid,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so I kind of feel like maybe you were leaning into that a little bit, or maybe that was just
Yeah.
that was just my interpretation of your thoughts on it or your feelings. So it's interesting that you don't seem to uh feel that way. That totally could have been imagined on my end.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, one thing I'll definitely agree with is I was edgier, and but like edgier in like in the Fiddler Green Day cringe sense.
Yeah.
Like I was not cool.
No, of course
I
not.
was just a total fucking. So my idea of being edgy was definitely giving the middle finger to Hitler and just
Oh
being like,
yeah.
fuck
Yes.
off,
Oh, you were
fuck
doing that
off.
every day.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I could like I can kind of like see that version of me being like, yeah, Brad, But
It was probably just a passing conversation we had or
yeah,
something where I got the impression that like you
I
were into it or
I
something.
do think like even my overall thoughts, you know, when I was younger, I do think for the most part, I this has been a song that has like not clicked with me. You know, uh, there's I like I have more mixed feelings on this Green Day song than a lot of others than we've talked about in their discography so far. I almost like would go so far as to say like for me personally, and I'm still talking about like my perception as a kid or like growing up listening to the song. Kind of feel like this is one of the first Green Day clunkers in
Wow.
my mind.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I sometimes I feel like I'm just waiting for it to be done. So
Yeah.
we'll
And
talk
that's
more about it,
we
but yeah,
will. And that's not a long wait though either. It's like it's a very
it's not.
quick song.
Yeah.
That's really funny because I actually I feel or historically I have felt very similarly to that. I like have always it's kind of been a weird one for me because this is like it's maybe the only song on Insomniac that like I can't like connect to it emotionally.
Hmm.
You know, like I just don't have there's no through line for me. Like so it's always been kind of something that I've struggled with a little bit. But it's been I mean I just enjoy it structurally and melodically and it's like it's clever lyrically and I like the concept and I still feel that way. It has grown on me, but I think that's because as a listener of music, like I've just like learned to appreciate art that I don't have that personal connection with, you know.
Right.
And back when I was a kid, couldn't really do that. So I
Yeah,
think
totally.
that's I think that's where I fall on that. How about you? So like, how do you feel now? Being a man in your late 60s,
Yeah.
have your feelings on the track changed at all?
It makes me feel more nervous the older I get because I'm like, I think I'm getting the crow's feet now. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm the
Erotica is setting
one.
in.
That's right. Yeah, like uh, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know how much time I have left on this earth.
lucky for us, we don't have any brat kids just waiting for us to die to get their inheritance.
That's right.
We're keeping it all for ourselves.
That's right. Well, it all goes to my cats.
It all
So
goes to the cats.
in some ways, they are my children. So,
That's true. That's a good point.
um, yeah, I mean,
They
like now.
wouldn't they wouldn't be singing this song about you, would they? You don't think?
No, no, they
No.
love me.
No,
They love
yeah,
me.
no way,
They,
right? No,
they
no.
look. Come on, come
Not
on.
even just like one of them. You know, just you think
Oh, maybe actually, maybe one
maybe
of them.
one of them would.
Maybe one of them. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know because the cat I live with, I feel like I think he's
Right,
singing that
would
every
be right. If you had money to like actually give
yes,
to him, then
if I had money and inheritance to give to him, he would be.
yeah,
I think he would relate to this song
he might be singing it
personally.
right. Yeah, like now I guess like you, I do feel like there's definitely things I appreciate about it more musically, and when we start like going into the individual performances, I'm sure we'll have some good things to say on that, um but I have to say that like the some of that hesitation and that feeling of like never fully uh like I don't know, I keep using that term clicking with it because it's like it's not that I don't get it, right? But I feel like that's the best way I can describe is like clicking with it because it's like even though like objectively it feels like I have a very strong understanding of the song, for the most part these days, uh like it doesn't matter. It's like it's not a matter of me knowing more about the song or not. It's like just what the song is uh is is not like generally what I'm looking for in a Green Day song, which is like kind of funny. And there's other songs I think that like share similarities to something like with Brat. Like when I think of Brat, sometimes I think about like a song like Uptight on Nimrod. And but I love that song, you know? Like I think that is like sort of a version of this done way better. And it's not that like the subject matter is like one to one exactly the same, but I think it's like that headspace of like Billy kind of creating this character and having the lyrics basically be entirely devoted to sort of what is the headspace and what is the deal with this character that Billy's singing about. And there are songs where that does work for me, and I think it's cool that Billy does that. But Brat is kind of an example of like it just feels like it falls like just short of me being like, yeah. And so I do, to this day, I still kind of feel like I have that, just under 2 minutes to kind of wait to get to Stuck With Me. And then it's like kind of like Insomniac is like open road after that,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, it's off to the races after that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's interesting because I mean, first off, Uptight is such a fucking great song. I'm so excited to get to that.
Yeah.
And but you're right. Like, and I think this is one of the examples of Billy really telling a story that is kind of removed from his history. And well, it is, but I also want to get into it. Maybe not so much. Um, but we going back to Dookie, like the second track on Dookie is having a blast, and that is the same
Yes.
kind of thing.
You're
And
right.
I think that works a lot better.
Yes. 100% agree.
So, but it's interesting that that's like like format wise, structurally, the albums. I've never really thought that they're very similar structurally or like mirrored to each other, but like it'll be interesting going through this track list because to have both of these like nihilist story songs on the in the track 2 spot on both records is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
agree. And I did feel like there was some, there is some, I think, like connection and like evolution from Burnout to Armitage Shanks and like in the way that the album's open. So it's
yeah,
I do think that there's some more connective tissue there, yeah, than I've thought.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that is interesting. The point you're making about the track 2 songs here on both these records. That's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just I just occurred to me. So we'll see if there's any more parallels there. Now, thematically, the song seems to be about a kid or a young person waiting for their parents to die to inherit their fortune, or their money, just waiting for mom and dad to die, which is, yeah, it's like a pretty dark kind of fucked up headspace to be in. And so it does like fit in Insomniac thematically and whatever. But like, do you think that there's part of this song that is like Billy imagining his children, because he's a new father at this point?
Hmm.
He's a brand new father. Is this Billy Joe putting himself in the headspace of his future child, thinking like, well, what if my kid like hates me and I am a
Yeah.
shit dad and they're just waiting for me to die to get my money?
Wow.
Because
That
it's
would
right
be.
after superstardom. It's right after he had kids. Like, it's, I don't know. I just thought of that. I think I mean, there could be a part of that there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've never ever thought that. I think that's a really interesting way to look at it. Because it's possible. It's like Billy, spends so much time thinking about the future, and kind of like working through his anxiety about like the unknown and time passing by. It's like definitely I could see him kind of like spiraling and freaking out after the birth of his first kid, and like maybe kind of this is the result.
Yeah, yeah,
I think there's something there. I did kind of always just consider this as like did they know someone, did they meet someone, is this kind of you know um I guess just a condemnation of like a certain kind of a trust fund kid, essentially, right? Or someone someone who's just like waiting to be in a good position off
Yeah.
the hard work of others. Like I could see how obviously coming from the world of DIY punk rock, a person like this would really get under Billy's skin. And so I always kind of assumed he was just like sort of venting and working through like, man, I can't believe there's assholes like this out there
Yeah.
too.
That does make a lot of sense. That's probably the more likely inspiration here, because I mean, Connor, you and I have like kind of touched on the periphery of DIY spaces ourselves, like playing shows and stuff a little bit.
Mhm.
And like there's almost always like a trust fund kid involved who
That's
like
true.
owns the space you're playing at and is like a usually kind of shitty asshole. Um, and so I'm sure that was the same thing back then. And also after Dookie came out, like I'm sure kind of bumping elbows with these people in the entertainment industry. I'm sure they saw a lot of that pretty fast over the preceding year and a half before Insomniac came out. So I think that's pretty likely.
Yeah. But for what it's worth, kind of what you're mulling over there, it's not nothing.
Yeah, I think it could be a small component. It's just interesting. Obviously, I don't think that's what ended up happening. I think maybe those fears were unfounded. It seems like he has a great relationship with both of his sons. So, I think it was just catastrophic thinking. It seems like if that was part of it.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's dive into the weeds here. Um, Connor, this song starts off with the vocals. So
Yes.
let's start talking with the vocals. This is it's a rare Green Day song that starts off a cappella.
Yeah. I'll pack a Kella.
Acapulco. I was
Yeah.
gonna say Acapulco.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's alpaca? Okay,
Yeah. That's what I was trying to get
there we
to.
go. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Um, what are your thoughts on the vocals here, Connor? Especially, I like what other songs start off with the vocals so far?
Um, I don't know. I can't even.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure. I'm not even
I
sure,
mean,
man.
like I know, FOD starts off with vocals and guitar. There's some of that, but just vocals. I don't know if we've really had one like that yet.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like it's maybe there's one and we're just forgetting it.
Yeah, that's probably.
Right. But yeah, no. Regardless, it does kind of have that distinction, and it's a cool way to start. Obviously it makes that first line really stand out. Um, and Billy does deliver, a very, I don't know, yeah, like a sneering, you know, snotty, sniveling, performance here. Um, I don't know. We talked about like those minute differences in his delivery from Dookie now to Insomniac, and how it's clear that something is different, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint what all those like little differences are. But I think a lot of it just has to do with him leaning more into these kind of more exaggerated inflections and pronunciations and things like that, and some of it is just like the cadence, and I think that this song really really carries that too. It's not just how he's singing. Like it sort of makes me think of when we get to something that's like similarly like not mid tempo but kind of has this like driving kind of like geek stink breath. It's like I don't know, the rhythm of how he's singing it that also makes it feel like um I don't know. Like, oh, it's like almost like he just has this like laundry list of complaints, you know, and
Yeah.
um, and so like on a song like Brat here, I don't know that whole like you know, like that's my impression of not doing any of the singing, but like it's like that kind of delivery
Yeah,
over and over again. It just kind of makes him sound like a shitbag, you know, just the way
it
he's
does.
doing it
Yeah.
too.
There's also like an element of like, I don't know, like just that melody, or that like the flow, especially you singing it like there, it kind of just feels like like one step away from like a kind of like an angry drinking song or something too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it's like just like a half a step away from that kind of thing.
Right.
But he's singing it alone, which makes it pathetic.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think yeah, you're right about the qualities of the vocal performance here. He is just totally in character here as you know, just as the titular Brat, you know.
Mm,
That's the big thing, is that, you know, this is it's obviously not an endorsement. It's like a satire on this kind of
yeah.
character. The song is literally called Brat. And yeah, very clearly showcasing the brattiness, you know, that we're referring to. Um, the big thing with the vocals here that I noticed just upon listening to this a few times today is that, and this is the thing that we'll get into because it's prevalent on Insomniac, is how low the vocals are mixed into the track. Like the vocals are really, they're mixed a good bit lower than than on Dookie and on the first two records, and then on subsequent albums as well. It's just a very interesting stylistic choice, because for like a mainstream band, like that's kind of a bit like, that's like your selling card, is the, especially with an iconic singer like Billy Joe. To mix the vocals low like this is definitely a, it's like kind of a brave choice. And I know the 90s, like this came out, you know, 95 is like a period of time where like Subversion was in, you know, and kind of following along the footsteps of, you know, In Utero or something. But like, but even In Utero was like they re-recorded the singles so they were more palatable, you know. And Insomniac here, like they don't, this was not recorded with Steve Albini or anything like that, so it's not like
Hmm.
really, it's still a very like like streamlined, professional sounding record. But it's interesting to me, some of the choices here, production wise. um and so I just thought that it was very very apparent here on the vocals in this track.
Yeah. um, no, I could definitely see that because you know one of the things I'm going to mention going forward with this song is like there was a lot of lyrics on this track that I didn't know, and that's gonna come up several times as we go through Insomniac. This is like a record where there's definitely more for me to fill in versus, you know, something like Kerplunk or Dookie. Um, and I do think that, you know, at least part of that is kind of like what you're talking about, where uh they're just, you know, they're just not as prominent, or you know, there's not the same clarity in the mix, and because of Billy's singing in a lot of places too, it's like even more kind of like garbled and twisted up in places, you know, where it's just kind of like hard to parse. Not to get ahead of, you know, ourselves here, but I feel like the point you're making on the mixing is kind of related to that. So
Oh, definitely.
it's all kind of connected in that way, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it's you're right. It's just it's interesting. Going on, your choice next. Who do we cover next?
Let's talk about the bass.
Bass guitar.
I don't have a ton to say. Like I like um that we get like the bass kind of filling in this part just after the chorus, you know. So like as the chorus end and before it goes back into the verse, you kind of get like this burner, you know, like kind of this
Yeah,
little like a walking little line, you know.
exactly. Yeah, we get a couple of cool bass runs.
Yep. So that's great, and I still can, hear that additional layer that the bass is giving, especially like in the verses, because Billy just has his guitar going like bam, and it's like I can pick up on what Mike is kind of offering there and adding, and it's like, but I guess I feel like in terms of what I grabbed from the base here, it's not so much about like the specifics of what Mike is playing. It's like I can like hear like the background buzz, of like of what he's offering, and it feels like it's kind of like um just like this constant, additional sort of layer in the sediments that sometimes it's easy to miss, but it's like, man, if you took it out, it's like you lose so much. So I wanted to go on to Mike's bass next because it feels like I don't have as much to say on it. But and I kind of mentioned this with Armitage Shanks as well. Something that I do find myself appreciating about Insomniac is it feels like I can always tell it's there. And like that's really
Yeah,
what I want from like bass mixing. I don't need to like, have it so turned up or whatever where I can hear each individual note. I just want to know that the bass is there, and it's not
yeah,
just swallowed up by the guitar. And that's true on a song like Brat as well. Like the presence of Mike's playing is felt, and I'm glad for the moments where like there's more clarity to show what's on offer there, like after the chorus. Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely. I think yeah, that's just a great quality that Insomniac has, and Dookie for the most part the bass is great, but it does get lost in the mix occasionally, and that's rectified here largely, and we'll see. We get into even more issues with that as the band goes on and modern production changes and stuff like that. But yeah, here it's great even if it's simple. I really like the bass. I think the bass is one of my highlights. I love that little run, especially in conjunction with the drums. We'll move on
Mm,
to the drums. Like just yeah, like just the dynamics of the stop start with the bass kind of being the connective tissue between the chorus and the verse. I think it's awesome. It's just like a cool little dirty touch that makes the song otherwise I think it would be a little bit boring. So I'm happy that we get some bass action here. Um, Heading into the drums, Connor.
mhm.
For me, it's kind of the same deal here. I mean, Trey's playing is just great, and I do like the little drum runs that lead out of the chorus as well.
Mhm.
That really kind of work in tandem with the bass. And just he has kind of like fills here and there. It kind of even feels like with those runs, it's like even a little bit like I don't know why. In my head, I want to call it like Flintstone style. I don't know why, but just kind of like the wacky pounding on the
Yeah, yeah.
snare. Um, I love it. It's a good little drum song, not overly flashy, but it does the job. Does it well, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I like that Flintstone style because it's rock and roll,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that. That would be a Flintstones joke right there.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. They would there'd be like a really like there'd be some bird there just giving this dry deadpan delivery. Be like, well, that's why they call it rock and roll.
Oh
That's
my god.
yeah.
Exactly. You
There you
can't
go.
get.
So
Wow, you're right in this Flintstones movie.
I don't know. I what can I say? I watched. I am as old as you say I am, Connor. I
Yeah.
watched the Flintstones. All right, there was always some fucking bird whose job it was to just like stand on a clock or whatever.
Just
And
being just
yeah,
giving the driest
exactly. Yeah,
humor.
yeah. They would just have like one little comment.
Always giving Fred the business.
Yeah, for real. This was not just like the Fred and Barney show.
No.
It's like
No.
there was also a bird there most of the time.
And sometimes a little alien.
Yeah, that's right. I love Kazoo.
Sometimes there's a little alien.
That dude fucking
And
rocks.
we can announce now that John Goodman is returning for the sequel to the live action Flintstones movie.
Yes. Yep. Produced by the same film company making New Year's Rev. It's
Yes.
incredible. The
Whatever
the
that guy's name is.
the Green Day film company partnership is finally off the ground. They're green
Yes.
lighting Flintstones 2 with John Goodman.
But the only issue is the guy who played Barney, he is dead. So they're recasting him with Fred Armisen.
Oh, why did I think you were gonna say Ryan Reynolds?
Oh my god, I should No, actually John Goodman is being replaced by Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
No, that's what I want. I want to see Ryan Reynolds play Fred Flintstone and Chris Pratt play
Oh
Barney
my
Rubble.
fucking
Yeah,
god.
let's
No,
do it.
actually Ryan Reynolds would make a really great, like, he'd be good at playing Fred's boss, just like a smarmy asshole, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I think that would be pretty good.
All right.
Anyways,
We were talking about the drums. The
yeah.
drums here. Yeah. I'm kind of with you too, where it's like I think that Trey's drumming is really good. I like all the fills he has, and I kind of had the same shout out of like what he's playing at the end of the chorus. There is definitely a standout moment. Um, but it feels like he just has like this really I don't know, tight, powerful, but sort of like straightforward kind of Trey performance. And a straightforward Trey performance is like leagues, beyond most people's straightforward,
Yeah.
performance. So I don't want to, I don't want to get it twisted on like what I'm trying to say here, but I guess I kind of feel like the drumming here is it kind of just does what it needs to do and like provides like that exact amount of like power, momentum, like really good moments, connecting all these things together. But like Brat is not a drum song, so it's like, yeah, the drums are pretty good because you got Trey Cool playing, but Brat is pretty much carried by the vocal melody, completely. It's like everything is, in my mind, kind of in service to just like, creating this podium for Billy to just yap over, as the kids might
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And you might be thinking, like, isn't that what a song is? Isn't that what's happening on most songs? And I would say no, actually. No, I don't think that's actually how it works. I do think the kind of song is important, and like you don't really get a lot of moments of like musical novelty on Brad. It's like very short and sweet, and even in like the instrumental break, um, like things are pretty much carrying on until you get to that final chorus. So I think that's fine, and I think that Trey's playing here is pretty damn good. Um, but aside from like those few moments that we shouted out, I feel like it is there to have like a very very solid skeleton, and but not much else.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I think it is definitely like improved by just its brevity. I think it's a song. If it was any longer, I think it would kind of get old. I think it's nice how that it's short and sweet.
Yeah,
That works in its favor. Because otherwise there'd have to be a little bit something more going on here.
right.
Connor, the guitar. How are we feeling about this guitar performance by Mr. B.J. Armstrong?
I do like the guitar here quite a bit. One thing that I was thinking as I was like listening to it and getting ready for our podcast discussion is, you know, I had said that Armitage Shanks kind of feels like a classic Billy riff. And what I can say about Brat is Brat does not sound like a classic Billy riff. Not that it's like super unique or like out there in any way, but it is different. Like it's not, it doesn't have like that same, like when, I don't know, Billy plays and it feels like his entire body is like boneless and he's just like Brat is not that song. It's like
Uh,
I I like the guitar here. I think the sound is like very full, and I like that it's not a super fast song. Like, I think before I tried to say kind of mid, because it's not really a mid-tempo song either, but it feels like it's like right in this like sort of in between. Um and I guess I sort of like the flow of it, and I think the guitar is cool for what it is, and I like it, especially like, it's much more singled out in that instrumental. Um, it does kind of have that feeling of, I don't know, like it does, it really, I don't know, it carries the song. I don't want to just be talking in circles and repeating myself, but I think it's good. I think it's even a little bit different in a way that's like hard to place. Like the way that Billy's playing and the way that this song sounds is immediately like, yeah, this is Insomniac. And I think we talked about this a bit before as well, where it's like, is it like that kind of minor sort of feeling from like what they're playing? But I think this is a song where there's like a couple small things happening with the guitar that make it feel like distinctly like, yeah, this is an Insomniac song. um but at the same time, like, there's nothing like notably that special or different about it either. Do you see like the two halves I kind of have as I'm like trying to talk about the
yeah.
guitar there? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's a bit different. I think I mean the riff, as far as like within Billy's repertoire, it is, unique. Like there's I don't feel like this riff is especially similar to anything that we've covered so far. It's like again, it's like just a little bit to the side from Billy's, regular na 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 na, it's
Right.
like it's different than that. And
Right. Because this is more like
exactly. Yeah. And
it's like,
like you can like trace the path and like find that he returns to that well afterwards. And but it's not with the same attitude uh or in the same mood as this track on Insomniac. So it's relatively unique for him. So I do see what you're saying. Yeah, and yeah, like every other song, it's uh or like most other songs, it's the driving force. And you know, again, just the guitar sound on Insomniac is fantastic. So it's a really it's a great little performance. I like it quite a bit. But I think it's, again, the dynamics of the song are really kind of what like just the stopping and starting for a song so short. It really kind of makes it feel like it's more substantial than it would be otherwise. So um I like that as well. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all I got to say about it though.
yeah.
Are you ready to move on to the lyrics?
Yes, I am. Let's sing a song.
Sing a song.
Just tell me the words I
I
might have
might have
known.
known
The
the
words
words
I might
I
have
might have
known.
known,
The
the
words I
words
might
I
have
might have
known.
known. All
I
right.
started off and I second guessed myself. I was like, "Am I right?" Because usually you're like, "Sing a song, buddy," and I just kind of went
Yeah.
for it. But I
No,
was
you
right.
were right.
I
Yeah,
was right. Yeah.
I was like, wow, he's taking the lead today.
Yes. Yeah.
He's game. He's going for it, and you know what? You succeeded. You did
Yeah.
well.
Okay. Uh.
So Connor, on this
Yeah.
track, this song Brat, you mentioned earlier that maybe you have there's some lyrics that you were unfamiliar with or that you had mistaken in the past. I'm curious what those might be, if there are any.
Yeah. There are Connor. It'd be easier to tell you the lyrics that I knew
Oh
versus
boy.
like, oh, what this is one of the first songs in a while, since like 39 Smooth, we were, where I would just be like, I didn't fucking know the words to this at all. And the thing is, because I was talking about how I felt like I have a good understanding of the song, and like the lyrics that I knew from this song, it paints a very clear picture of what the song is about. Like, uh, it's pretty obvious what Billy's singing about, even if like I might not know exactly what he's saying or how he's like getting that point across at like a specific given moment. Um, I've always thought the picture was pretty clear that the song was painting, and so the beginning of the first verse, "Mom and Dad don't look so hot these days, are getting over the hill." Always had that, and then it's like after that, it's like kind of a jumbled mess to me. But then the end, I'll just wait for Mom and Dad to die and get my inheritance. Perfectly clear. So like it didn't matter, you know, in terms of like understanding the song where in between that was pretty much just to me like a jumbled mess where I might only know bits and pieces. And yeah, even the chorus, some of that was a mystery where on Genius it says, well, now I want more because I'm getting bored and I'm going nowhere fast. I was once filled with doubt, but it's all figured out. Well, nothing good can like I didn't know what the first line was, but I knew like because I'm getting bored and I'm going nowhere fast. When Billy, here's my one misheard lyric that I kind of always knew was wrong. But when Billy says, I was once filled with doubt, but it's all figured out. Sometimes I thought that he was saying, like, I was once sobered up,
Oh, okay.
which it's like, why at this point would he be singing that anyways, But
Yeah.
so again, I didn't think that that's what he was saying, but that was like my misheard lyric. That was like I'm Brandon mad at Justin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I know that's not it, but
Uh,
I'm still thinking about that. By the way, it
that
was
was great. Yeah.
um. So I'll stop there because I could go through the second verse and be like, oh, I only knew a little bit of it. Pretty much like 80% of the song, Connor, I just like flat out really couldn't tell you. Um, there's going to be a few songs in Insomniac where it just seems that this is an album where I have some real blind spots on it, and
Yeah.
Brat is definitely one of those. So there was a lot here I did not know.
Yeah, I'm actually not too far behind you on this one. I don't I feel like this is one of the songs where I learned the lyrics, then I forgot them, then I learned them again and forgot them again. Like it's one of those songs that I just didn't stick with me lyrically. And um some of those parts like let's see. Um got a plan of action in cold blood is I don't think I ever parsed that. And then for the chorus, I'd always sing it. Now I'm bored because I'm getting bored.
Well,
Just
yeah, right.
bored in there twice.
Yeah.
Uh, that's kind of how it always sounded to me. And then I I feel like I knew it was Once Filled with Doubt for a long time, but originally I thought he was singing I was once an adult.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't make sense either.
yeah.
Um, and what else? I think that's pretty much it for me. But yeah, it's like one of those, like we were saying, with the combination of Billy's delivery and the vocal production, it makes it easier to mishear these lyrics or just not catch them.
Yeah. And I think some of it too, just kind of talking about some of our mixed feelings on the song, or like kind of feeling like this song is almost a bit of like an outlier on Insomniac. I think that there's a few things with Brat that, at least in our personal cases, like did not do it a lot of favors for us to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just sit down and like sing along to Brat. I didn't really
Yeah.
care. So
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's like it's sing alongable in the way that, like, if it comes on and we're like listening to it, like I'm sure have been times where we're just like hanging out and it comes on and it's like that first line is
mhm.
fun to sing along with. Like that is a fun part, and then getting into the song. But that's like, I don't know. It's kind of like more. It feels like more of a novelty for a Green Day song.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as far as the lyrics in general, Connor, I do think that there are good. Like I think it's a good song lyrically. It's like I said, it's a cool concept, and we're in Billy's storyteller mode. Um, I don't know. Do you have any standout parts of the lyrics here?
Yeah, I mean, you had already talked about that opening line, which is really good. Um, I don't know. I like the whole like nothing good can last line. I feel like there's like kind of a double sort of, it's like, well, nothing good can last, right? And it feels like it's kind of tongue in cheek because it's like, well, if his parents kick the bucket, it's like, well, nothing good's gonna last for them. But then that gets passed on to him, and it's like, because this individual is such a like a fucking waste of space. It's like, even in the situation where, hey, their parents finally die and they get all their money, I kind of feel like there's this other sort of idea of like, well, how long are they going to be set for, with the way that they're conducting their lives already as it is. Like, they already don't have to do anything at all. So it's like, if they just are given this huge windfall, I think that there's this other kind of side to, well, nothing good can last. It's kind of just like, this endless chain of like laying down the train tracks while the train's still moving. Like, this person is not set up to accomplish or do anything, whether
Yeah,
they have no money or all the money in the world. And so I think the way the chorus ends, it's kind of like a game of two halves. Like, nothing good can last. I think it's meant to be a little sinister, like, oh, the sorry, mom and dad, nothing good can last. But also, what good is it going to do this fucking person? Because they fucking suck. So,
yeah. I mean, it's gonna be these people. I imagine they wait all this time, and their parents kick the bucket, and they get the money, they get the windfall, and then they're like, wait, but mommy used to do this. Mommy used to clean my clothes for me.
right, right.
Where is she?
Mm-hmm. Sad.
Daddy Daddy used to to get me in for free at the country club.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. It's
So
sad. Sad. Sad
yeah, and
line.
then they're like, well, maybe I wasn't worth it after all.
Yep. And then there's like a bird on a clock or whatever, right?
Yeah,
And then they're just like, well, I guess having all the money in the world doesn't help everybody.
exactly.
Something
And
like
just
that.
scoffs at you, and then like a little green alien shows up, and
Yeah.
they're like, and this is what your future would be like if your parents
Yeah.
did actually die. And
That's
then he
right.
snaps his finger, and then you're back in your parents' house and they're still alive. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I
Yes.
was such a brat.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
forgive me, mommy and daddy.
That's exactly how that would go. Yeah.
And
That's
Connor, we
that's
just
just
wrote the
getting it.
plot to Flintstones too.
That's right. That's right. And I really think that Ryan Reynolds has a lot of good material to chew on there. Like he can
He
make that
does,
work,
yeah.
you know.
He's also writing the script.
Yes, yeah.
We're like the ideas guys, but he's like actually writing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what we do. We're ideas guys, you know.
we are. Yeah, the
In the
big picture kind of thing.
credits, that's gonna be, you know, that's our title, ideas
Yeah,
guys.
ideas guys, Connor and Connor. That's
Yeah,
us. Um, awesome. Yeah, no, I like the lyrics. I don't know. I think it's, they're good. My parents' income interest rate is gaining higher clout. Um, I like singing along to "I Must Not Know Slob Without a Job," and I know I damn well should.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's just it's a fun, clever little, uh, you know, like bratty song. And it has its place, and not the best on the album, but I think I'm happy it exists. I like it. It's like
Yeah,
a fun little part of Green Day's catalog there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. We'll see how we go, like how we. But you know what? I will. It's like, yeah, not the best on the album, and I really think 2 songs in, I feel pretty comfortable saying maybe the worst.
yeah, I mean, I had that thought earlier too, and I do think it could take the cake for least good song on the record.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, we'll see. Maybe there will be a surprise contender. I don't know. Um, anyways, Connor, you want to move on to some segments?
yes, I do.
All right, you gotta help me out with this song. Goes a little bit like this. A warning, live without
Have we heard
warning.
this song? Have we heard this song?
Connor, have we, you and I,
Mm.
ever heard the song Brat live in concert as performed by the band Green Day?
Connor, this is one of those. I kind of always go back to your legendary Rough Trade Show. I'm like, has Connor heard the song and I haven't? And that's kind of what I thought happened with Armitage Shanks. And then you were like, no, motherfucker, you've heard Armitage Shanks before. I really don't think I've ever heard Brat. And I really kind of think maybe you did hear Brat at that Rough Trade Show. I'm going to say that I didn't hear Brat. And I think there's like a 50% chance that you've heard Brat.
All right, yeah, that's a good guess. Connor, I have heard Brat. I've heard Brat twice live. Well, actually, so never mind. I first heard Brat live at Irving Plaza, New York, in
Uh-huh.
2012. Um, I also heard Brat live at that Rough Trade show
There we
in New York in
go.
2016.
Yes.
You were correct. Now, where you are wrong, Connor, is you have heard
Oh my
Brat.
fucking god.
You
I've
have
heard
heard
Brat.
Brat.
I've heard Brat.
You
I
have
have
heard
heard
Brat live.
Brat.
They did play it at that Webster Hall show the day after Rough Trade
Holy
in New
shit.
York City on October 8th, 2016.
Oh my god.
We have both heard the song Brat live.
Wow. I suck. I'm the fucking Brat. Imagine, like, you know, there's probably some Green Day fans who listen to this and they're like, wow, this aloof, stupid motherfucker. He doesn't
How could
even
he forget?
know. Right. He doesn't even appreciate the gems that he. What? Oh, I would fucking kill my parents and steal their inheritance money to hear Brat live, you know? Like,
Pretty much. Yeah. I
and
mean,
here I am. It's like I didn't even fucking remember. I guess I've heard it. That's cool. I've heard Brat.
you have heard Brat. This is one of those songs that like it's like almost like I don't know, it's not a song I really love, but it's like to hear it live is like incredible. You're like, holy shit, because it is kind of it's so rare. Like I am actually absurdly lucky looking at the list of performances. I'm absurdly lucky to have seen it somehow 3 times. Like
Yeah.
they played it like they haven't played it since 2016, since we saw it
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
And like before that, like in the 2000s, just very sporadically, like just a handful of times. It's a very, very rare song. So so we are lucky boys.
Hmm. Wow. You know what? I mean, your memory is way better than me, but every time we do this podcast, Connor, you're looking at the set list from these
I
shows,
am,
and I'm
yes.
not. So
Yes.
you do kind of get a refresher a lot
My
more often than I should
my
go back
memory
and look
is
at
not
these set lists.
infallible here.
Yeah.
There are songs that I have forgotten, absolutely. And like if I had to guess, have I heard Brat? I think I would have said yeah. I think I knew that I heard it live, but there are some that I definitely would have been wrong on. So it's not a this is not a you thing. It's not
No,
you're
of
not
course
so
not. Of course not.
stupid. You're not just a fucking dumb idiot, piece of shit
Wow.
for not remembering it.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
not
you.
at all how anyone feels.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy.
Um. Anyways, Connor, you want to hear it from the anti-social media.
We are.
All right. So yeah, we got some good ones, I think, from the seedy underbelly of the World Wide Web. We'll head over to YouTube, um, where we love to go and hang out.
Yes.
First up, we have Alex, the MLAATR fan from 5 years ago. I don't know what MLAATR is, but
Me neither. MLAA. You sure? Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Keep
Modern
going.
Lovers All American The Rejects.
Yep, that's it.
That's it. They say today's music don't look so hot these days. It's getting over the hill.
Yeah, when was this comment made?
5 years ago.
5 years ago, 2020. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't want to sound like an old head, you know.
But that's before the album Brat came out and just totally revitalized popular music entirely.
That's true.
So
That's true. And it's also before that Fiddler album you're talking about came out.
yeah.
And that I think that really started to move the pendulum in the other direction.
The Fiddler album actually came out more than 5 years ago, but I get what you're trying to say. Next up, we have Jamaica Mag Banua 8292 from 4 years ago. They say this gives me the feels of annoyed to your parents, but you actually appreciate them. This song's genius.
Nothing about this song makes me think that they appreciate their parents.
There's like, are we missing a coda like to the song where Billy sings like, I'm just joking. I actually do appreciate you guys. You know it. You know I'm just joking around, right?
Right. I'm just joking.
Yeah,
I'm just
like
joking.
there's like a little like kind of like the end of Outlaws where it's just like piano and Billy Joe. He's singing, "I'm just joking around, guys." We must be missing a part
Yeah,
of that
I
or
wanna
something.
like look at the vinyl re-release, or are there like liner notes or something where Billy's like, I felt really bad about writing this shit.
Yeah, I know. It could be the case. Next up, we have Scarlet 4061 from 9 months ago. They say, this song is so Julia.
Wow, so Julia.
It's so Julia. I mean, this is like she would do this kind of
This is a
thing.
Julia song. No, it is. And at first, when I was listening to it at first, I was like, wait a minute, is this Stephanie? Could this be a
I know.
Stephanie song?
It's
But
an easy mistake.
it is Julia through and through.
Absolutely, Julia. Uh, Next up, we have Pod 9363 from 4 years ago. Pod says, I can't be the only one who finds this song is a brilliant POV experience into the mind of a sociopathic young person, up there with pumped up kicks and having you feel the emotions they must feel. In this case, evil excitement, without actually sympathizing with them.
Yeah, it's funny to think of Brat as the 1995 pumped up kicks.
Which, I mean, it's funny comparing that because again, we have Having a Blast, which is like literally the
Right.
1994 pumped up kicks.
We did make that comparison, actually, didn't we? I
We
think when we
did,
were
yeah.
talking about Having a Blast, we were like, it's kind of like that fucking pumped up kicks song.
Exactly, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, Billy just does, when he writes about like a character, or like when he's doing like a POV song like this, it's almost always someone who's like really fucked up. Like he's not writing songs about other people where it's like they're having a chill time. Like they're usually, like
Yeah,
they are on the verge of like snapping.
that's a great point. Yeah, he never writes songs about people just like hanging out and
Right. I mean, if he does, it usually just comes across as like he's writing about a personal experience. But
yeah.
yeah, but something like this, it's like, what right, what's the deal? I don't know. but
I
it
mean,
is
I
it is
can get
funny.
I see where they're getting at with the pumped up kicks comparison, but it's like
Yeah.
there's a much better example of that
Oh
right under
yes,
your nose.
yes.
Um, Next up we have J Hood Muniz 3195 from 6 years ago. Me when my parents don't let me play Minecraft after 9 p.m. This is a good one.
Oh yeah, that's some good Gen Z humor right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Okay, so this one is just this guy's just called D. There's no username, but the icon is just a D. So
Okay.
D says, "Mom and Dad, keep it. Thanks for being you, a millennial."
Hmm.
Like signed a millennial.
Right. Um.
So he's just like telling his parents, you know, you guys keep that inheritance. You worked hard for that.
Right.
Thanks for being you. You're a millennial
Yeah.
son.
That does kind of seem. You know, it's like I think most millennials are like, you know what? The boomers worked really hard for their money. I don't think that they're hoarding
Yeah,
it
exactly.
or should be. You know, like trying to like encourage programs to like better disperse
No.
wealth or like
Well,
that most millennials are like, you know what, boomers, you keep it, you earned
yeah,
it,
and
you
and I
keep
mean,
it.
here's the thing, Connor, is the boomers like they didn't screw us over at all. Like
No.
we did that to ourselves. We just like
Right.
don't work hard enough.
Yeah, yeah,
And we're
yeah,
like on our phones too much.
yeah. Now that we're like kind of joking around, this sounds like a post where it was written by a boomer.
Absolutely.
and
100%.
and they are just like pretending,
Yes.
this is like millennial face. This is kind of fucked up,
Yes.
you know.
It is. It is fucked up actually. This is a boomer trying to do like to like rehab their
Yes,
image.
yes, yeah, yep.
And guess what? It ain't gonna work.
No, we see right through you.
We do. Next up we have
I'm taking your fucking money. I'm coming
oh
for you,
yeah,
boomer.
it's ours. Even if you're not our parents, it is
Yeah.
ours. Just, we're gonna spend it right away on bubble gum and knickknacks
That's right.
and
It's
more cell phones,
like
TikTok
their
subscriptions.
worst nightmare. Not only are they dead, but they're funding an entire generation's avocado toast addiction. You know?
Exactly. The living it's that's they'll be rolling in their graves.
Yeah.
Next up we have Ye Old Thomas from 9 months ago. Thomas says, some random pop star when she heard this song. Yes, this song describes the vice president very well. I'm going to make a whole album with this title and dedicate an entire summer to it.
What does this have to do with the vice president? Does she write about that on the fucking album?
I think it's referring to when Charlie XCX called Kamala Brat and endorsed her,
Oh. I guess I do kind of remember it. Like it
which,
hurts. It hurts to
yeah,
remember that. It feels like I'm
I
being
know.
stabbed as I'm
It's a
like
sad,
remembering that.
it's a bad memory.
But you're right. Like I remember being on Twitter and it's like, wow, Kamala is Brat, and it's just
Kamala is
like
Brat,
it's
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I'm getting like chest pains just thinking about it.
Yeah, best to move on. No, I I mean she made that endorsement after Brat came out, so you know the timeline in that comment is I think a little bit off, but you know I get it. Uh,
Yeah, maybe go back to the drawing board on that one
yeah,
there.
maybe rethink a little bit about that, Thomas. Next up we have Cake Cannibala DD316 from 7 years ago. They say, I play the song when my mom and dad call me a brat. Then I leave my house and scream shenanigans in people's windows.
Just feels like you're trying a little bit too hard there, buddy.
This is such a fucking like 2007
Yeah,
comment. Like I feel like I've seen a million of these. Like
yeah. No, it's
this was obvious. This was definitely written by a millennial. Like
yes, yeah. It's the only person who could have done it. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
there's no other generation has a mind
this
like this.
yeah, it's just like frozen in amber. Like this comment is a time capsule of something that I'd like to forget just as much as I would about Kamala being Brat. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right, yeah, we got a few left here. Next up, we have YouTube commentator from 1 year ago. Wasn't it great when this was a criticism on youth entitlement and not a State of the Union address on the economy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, yeah.
I mean, is it referring to how like all the politicians and stuff are really old and so we're waiting for them to die?
The thing is I feel like there's like a really, really conservative right wing way to take this too, though, where it's
Yeah,
like I'm not sure which side of the political spectrum this person's coming from.
that's a good point.
Because I think it also could be like a condemnation of like
Their handling of the economy and the
yeah, right,
debt
is like, oh,
ceiling and
are we just waiting around for people to die to get our money? I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not
Oh,
sure. I'm not sure.
probably the we'll give them the most charitable interpretation because usually YouTube comments are made in by good folks in good
Yeah.
faith.
I mean, I will.
Um,
It's like the first part. It's like, oh yeah, youth entitlement. That's a nice, concise way to kind of put some of what we were like trying to talk about with the song here. I'm like that's a nice, concise way
yeah,
to put it. I'll give him that.
yeah. All right, I got two left here. Um, we have Ollie Goria from 9 years ago. They say the absolute sad part about this song is that there are people out there in the world who actually can relate to this song. Like the song, there are some people with rich parents who are waiting with an anxious smile for that day that will someday come for their parents. Thankfully, this is a song that Billy Joe does not fit into, a rarity in the days of this. Even sadder, there's also been some of these waiting people who don't have the patience, and well, let's just say they go and speed things up if you catch my drift.
Yeah, yeah. That's it's very sad.
It's so
Very sad.
sad that they do
Very
like
sad.
it's an epidemic these days where just young kids are killing their rich parents. Like it's
Yeah.
just how do we put a stop to that?
I don't know. I do think it probably happens more than we know.
I mean, here's just like a one crazy idea that I have.
Mm.
It's like maybe since this is such an epidemic with the wealthy people, like maybe we should just like redistribute their wealth or something. So like that de-incentivizes their kids from even having the thought of doing something like that.
That's right. It's the only way to save the rich boomers
Yeah.
is to distribute their wealth.
And this is just like out of a place of caring for their
Yeah,
lives, like
yeah. No, I know. We want to save them. You know what else I think is funny about this comment is they're like, "Oh, it's nice that Billy doesn't fall into this category, a rarity." Like are they saying oh, like like because Billy's parents aren't rich, like he's not saying about this like personally, is that what they're like trying to get
I
at?
think so.
Like oh,
Yeah,
a lot of people making music now, they're all nepo babies and they come from like
yeah.
wealthy backgrounds and they might actually relate to this, but like not Billy, like right?
I think that's exactly what they're saying. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Weird comment. I don't know.
it's a very strange
It's
comment.
it's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
Uh, all right. Last but not least, we have the Don 101277 from 9 years ago. With the Don says, "And it smells like dead fried eggs." LOL.
And it does.
A misheard lyric, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
And it smells like dead fried eggs instead of defiance.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just ready to accept that at face value and be like,
Yeah,
yeah, no, that's just
it
how
could
it is
just
on
be
YouTube.
isolated. It could just be it is kind of a normal YouTube comment.
Yeah.
And I don't
You're
really
definitely
think
right.
that it doesn't really sound like that in the song, but that's definitely what they're
Yes.
trying to
Yeah.
to say.
You're right.
Um,
That's a good shout out.
Connor, who the heck wins comment of the day?
There's not an obvious winner to me in my mind, but and this is kind of a different comment than I'd usually vote for, I think. But one that got the biggest, most genuine laugh out of me was the commenter who was like, "Me to my parents when they tell me to stop playing Minecraft after 9 p.m." And
Yes.
I don't know. I just think that was funny. I can really imagine like some 13-year-old kid just like being funny and just having a funny fucking comment. I'm gonna vote for them this week.
Definitely. Yeah, let's give it to the Zoomer. I think the Zoomer does because I mean we saw we I mean we saw Boomer output, we saw Millennial output here. I think the Zoomers win this one, to be honest.
Yeah, no, very, very easily. The millennials was just a sorry contribution. So do
Not
better,
great. And the
do
Boomer
better.
was just too obvious.
Yes, we see right through you, man.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
weren't being slick there, pal. Congratulations, J. Hude Muniz 3195. If you're still rocking out there in the free world, please let us know and we will send you a prize, a very handsome reward. Like we do all of the winners. Connor, any final thoughts on Brat or anything we covered before we wrap it up?
it'll be interesting to see when we get to the end of our Insomniac album discussion. Because it's like we'll be listening to the record a whole bunch of times, and it's like I wonder if my thoughts are going to change on Brat because the way I remember it, they haven't really changed that much since from when I first listened to Brat to now, like
Yeah.
decades later. Um, so I don't know. But like I also was kind of admitting, hey, there's a lot on this song lyrically that I didn't know. And I could kind of see, maybe just having fun singing along to this one. I wonder if my opinion will change, but I have a feeling that even if I do like it more, it'll kind of be like what was the song we were talking about on Dookie?
Having a blast.
Oh yeah, right. Which is what we were talking about,
Yeah.
right? We just kind of right where it was sort of like, yeah, I like it more, but it kind of feels like it's just there.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel that. I mean, it's like it doesn't help that it's surrounded by like really heavy hitters, just great fucking songs.
yeah. So
So
I don't know. This was a cool song to talk about, but it kind of feels like the first song in a while too, where it was sort of like, I don't know. It's a Green Day song that I just don't care that much about.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm in the same boat with you, but I do want to just like add the caveat that like Connor, we lost our shit when they played the song live.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it was. I mean, I'm sure it was cool. Of
You
course, I
you know
remember.
we just
Of course
lost
I. No, yeah,
our
because
shit.
like we knew in the moment, uh, just how lucky we were to get to
Yeah,
hear that song,
definitely.
and I think that there's like a lot of novelty and excitement and energy that comes from like that moment. But like the song itself, yeah. But
Yeah,
no, you're totally right. Hey, to be there and to hear it, man, nothing good can last.
so freaking true. Folks, thanks for listening. You can look forward to us. Yeah, what we're discussing Stuck With Me next week.
Yes, we are.
I'm fucking excited for that one. That's
Do da da.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be sorry. We're discussing we call it by the proper name here on Green Dude,
Yeah.
so it'll be do da da. Um, just joking. Yeah. Look forward to next week. You can follow us on social media or anti-social media if you prefer. Uh, we are on Twitter at Green Dudes Pod and the same on Instagram. Please follow us and you can send us a message if you'd like. We'd love to hear from you and your thoughts on Brat and anything else that we covered. That would be great. Um, if you're feeling generous with your time and efforts, we'd love for you to go on Apple Podcasts and give us a nice review along with a 5-star rating. That would just make our days a little bit brighter. Um, but most importantly, folks, as always, until next time, stay
Stay punk.
punk. All right. Green Dudes out.